Alright, so let's now talk about solving two-step equations. So here we have this equation, 4x plus 4 equals 12. And if you look here, you can see that I've already gone ahead and modeled that. So I've got 4 x's, I've got 4 ones, and I've got 12 ones over here. Okay, so modeling down. Step 2, we need to add or subtract the number with x to both sides, alright? So that number that's with the x, that's this plus 4 thing. And the way that we move that over is by adding our 0 pairs, right? So I need to add my 4 0 pairs. But right now I'm not balanced, so what I do to one side, I have to do the other side. So if I add my 4 negative ones over here as well, then I have gotten balance again. But now I need to actually make my 0 pairs. So I'm going to put these over here to cancel them out. And I'll do the same over here. Alright, and now I've got this going on, right? So I have these 4 x's, and then I've got these 1s. Well, I'm going to go ahead and split these into 4 equal groups, right? To figure out what each x equals. So in this case, I've got 2 1s that pair with each x, which means that I've got x equals 2. So what we did over here was we subtracted 4 from both sides. Those cancel, leaving us with 4x equals 12 minus 4, which is 8. And then what I did was I split them up into 4 different groups. So what I'm really doing is dividing by 4. So I get that x equals 2. And I always want to check my answer, so I'm going to write it in different colors so we can see. So I'm going to plug 2 in here, plus 4 equals 12. Well, 4 times 2 gives me 8, plus 4 equals 12, and 8 plus 4 equals 12. Does 12 equal 12? Yes, so we're good. So real quick, if you look here, I've added the division between here. So I clicked this 3 times to divide it into 4 groups. Okay, so now I've got my next problem, and I've gone ahead and modeled it. So I've got 4x. I've got 2 positive 1s, and I've got 2 negative 1s, which gives me 4x plus 2 equals negative 2. So right now I'm balanced, which is good. So now I need to add or subtract the number with x to both sides. So I've got this number with my x's over here, so I need to find my 0 pairs. So my 0 pairs to get rid of these would be by dragging on more of these. But what I do to one side, I have to do the other. So I'm going to go ahead and make my 0 pairs. I've got 0 pairs here. I'm going to make 0 pairs here, but wait, I don't have any. So all I have is that 4x equals negative 4. So now I need to somehow divide these into equal sections. And I've got 4 x's, so I'm going to split up each x into one section. So now I need to split up my reds the same way. So I need to divvy them up equally. So I get that each x equals negative 1. Right? So let's go ahead and do that. So first we subtracted 2 from both sides, and we were left with 4x equals, and negative 2 minus 2 gives us negative 4, which is what we had over here. And then we split it up into 4 equal groups. So we got that x equals negative 1, and negative 4 divided by 4 will give us negative 1. So it matches what we have so far here, but now we need to check our answer. So I'm going to plug this back in. So I've got 4 times negative 1 plus 2 equals negative 2. So if I do 4 times negative 1, I get negative 4 plus 2 equals negative 2. And negative 4 plus 2 gives me negative 2. So it works. Alright, so here I've got my next problem. I've got 2x plus 1, and it equals negative 5. So my first thing is I'm going to add or subtract the number with x to both sides. So I've got this 1 hanging out here with the x's. So I need to make my 0 pair. So in order to do that, I have to add negative 1. But right now I'm unbalanced, so what I do to one side, I have to do the other in order to keep it balanced. So I'm going to make my 0 pair, so it goes away. And I've got that 2x now equals negative 6. Well, I've got 2 x's here, which means I need to split them up into equal groups. So I'm going to add this division, and I'm going to move this x down here. So now I need to take these, I need to split them up in equal groups. So I'm going to give 1 to each side, 2 to each side, and then 3 to each side. So I see that one of these x's equals negative 3. So if I write out algebraically what we just did, got negative 5. We subtracted 1 from both sides. We were left with 2x equals negative 6. And then we split them into 2 equal groups, which left us with negative 3 in each group. If we plug that back in to check our answer, we get that 2 times negative 3 plus 1 equals negative 5. So we're trying to see if this does work. So 2 times negative 3 gives us negative 6 plus 1. Negative 6 plus 1 equals negative 5, and it checks out. So we are good. Alright, so we're going to apply the same idea to something like this. So we're always going to move this number first here, so we're going to subtract 3 from both sides because we're making 0 pairs. These cancel, leaving us with x over 7 equals, and then we got 5 minus 3, which is 2. And then the operation, remember we're doing opposite operations, right? So the operation we're doing here is division, so x divided by 7, which means the opposite of division is going to be multiplication. So we're going to multiply 7 on both sides. So these cancel, leaving us with x isolated, which is what we want. And then we have 2 times 7, which is 14. Well, then we need to plug it back in. So I'm going to plug in 14 here, divided by 7 plus 3, and we're going to see, does it equal 5? So 14 plus 7, 14 divided by 7 is 2, plus 3 equals 5. 2 plus 3 equals 5. So 5 does in fact equal 5, and we are good to go. Alright, so our next example, we've got x divided by 3 minus 16 equals 11. So our first thing is we're going to move this number, so we're going to make our 0 pairs, which in this case would mean adding 16. And what you do to one side, you need to do the other. I didn't draw the bar in the last one, but if it helps you to draw that bar so you can see what one side is versus the other side, then please feel free to do that. So these cancel out. These are my 0 pairs, leaving me with x divided by 3. Then I've got 11 plus 16. So 11 plus 16 gives me 27. And right now I've got x divided by 3. And I need to get this x alone. I need to isolate that x. So the operation going on between the x and the 3 is division, which means the opposite of that is going to be multiplication. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side in order to keep that balance, in order to keep that equality. So I cancel these and I'm left with x. 27 times 3 gives me 81. So let me plug that back in. So I've got 81 divided by 3 minus 16, because we always check our answer. So 81 divided by 3 is going to give me 27. Minus 16 equals 11. And 27 minus 16 is 11. And I got my original answer, so we are set.